There are parents who are being charged with negligence after they found out that their child was attacked by wolves at the Hershey Park Zoo, by the way, which is where I grew up going to Hershey Park all the time.
Is that right next to the amusement park?
Yeah, right in that same vicinity.
Been there
And you would think to yourself, well, how in the world would you not know as a parent or realize that your child was in danger from sticking their hand into the wolf den, that you would be like, don't do that? Or how would you not understand that? They were distracted by their phones.
Parents are not off the hook when it comes to closely monitoring their children in spaces of this nature. It's a misdemeanor. They're looking at the potential for up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine.
That's outrageous.
Whoa.
That's outrageous. And by the way, Hershey, why can people put their hand in the den?
I don't know. It was a young kid.
Are we
I'm
getting
suing
towards glass enclosures now?
Yeah.
Either way, parents were not paying attention at all.
I don't think you think at a zoo that all of a sudden there's a chance for a bear to attack your kid.
No, but
Or
we
a
do
wolf,
hear.
yeah.
We hear
Is
about
it a wolf or a
And
bear?
this
was a wolf.
But yeah, it could be a bear, yeah.
I do feel like we hear about things happening at zoos way more than I'm comfortable with.
People falling in
Yes.
or they're
Yeah,
like
but that's like
overlooking.
climbing
Where
the
they
thing.
shouldn't go.
Yeah.
That was my first thought, thinking, how do we have access? Because as someone who goes to the zoo very often, I'm like, I want to get closer. I want to be able to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to get closer, but you can't at the Ashboro Zoo. You can't.
Right.
Well, that
right.
zoo is huge, and that one you walk a mile. But that is one of the most zoos that a lot of people like because it's not caged.
Right.
It's not. It's very wide open for a lot of the animals.
And
But
they have like their natural. It's
Yes.
very similar to their natural.
I mean, their
habitat
elephant part is this. Like you got to time it out right because the elephant could be like yards and yards and yards away.
Yeah.
Yeah, or behind like a rock or sleeping. But they stand up, I guess, anyway. We have our official attorney, Lisa Lanier. Is this like a real concern now? Is this true? These parents could actually go to jail for not paying attention?
Yeah, I don't think they will. I think that they will probably end up with some kind of a plea agreement. Maybe they may have to take like a parenting class or something, but I doubt that they will actually, or they may get some sort of like a probation type situation. I doubt they will actually see
Probation?
any hard time over it. Well, I can say it's a little bit more. I think there's a little bit more to it, to
Okay.
the sort of the inattention that you guys were talking about. Because, I always go down these rabbit holes and read everything there is to read about
That's
this.
why we love it.
You should be an attorney.
Right? Yeah, imagine that. So this child, it's a year and a half old, right? I was 17 months old. That's a very small child, right? And so the child crawled under a barrier that stands in between the wolf fence and the public. And so there is a barrier. There's a physical, like a fence type thing there. The child crawled underneath that and then was able to poke its hand through a second barrier, which was a wire fence. And it was minor. The injury was pretty minor because apparently wolves, according to what I read, when any kind of object or any food or anything that comes near them, that to check it out, their senses are very oral, and so they put their mouth on it. It didn't like put its mouth on it super hard, but it did bite down a bit, and so there was very minor injury, but could have been a lot worse. And the fact that the child was allowed to crawl 30 some feet away from the parents and under a fence barrier, and then
I see.
It was pretty bad. And so I think that's why that, I don't think under just, if your kid you got a 2 or 3 year old that runs up to a fence, bam, does that, you're not going to get in trouble for that. But these people were, and they were really clueless. They were both just deep diving in their phones for something.
Could they sue?
Yeah.
I know not to look at it another direction, but could they sue the zoo for not having it properly blocked off for somebody to be able to do that in the first place?
Where a kid can crawl
but
underneath.
it was properly.
It had 2 layers. It had 2 layers of
enough for the
boundary,
hand.
barriers, and I'm sure all kinds of signs about that sort of thing. It's funny, I love to travel, and I was in Iceland a few years ago, and you go to all these really super dangerous things where you can just literally step one step too far and fall to your death.
Yes.
A gabillion miles into a crevice, a volcano, whatever. They have nothing. They have no barriers anywhere. And I asked, we were with a guide, and I asked him, I was like, especially the lawyer in me is very curious. I'm like, you guys don't have warning signs. You don't have barriers. He said, we believe in the Darwin principle.
That
Survival
is
of
true.
the fittest.
Yeah.
He said, this is how we get rid of our stupid.
A little part of me agrees with you as
But
well.
you know what?
Bring that
Lisa,
back here.
I know.
Lisa, you know what? It's
Yeah.
interesting that you said that because I actually told a story once where I was in Mexico and I went up this huge I don't know,
One
the
of the
pyramid
pyramids.
things.
Like a ruin.
And I was automatically assuming, because we have it here in the United States, that we have some kind of safety measure. So I was on the stairs must be on the backside. There's probably an elevator. There wasn't anything. So we're worse off because we're so used to it. Well, there's got to be something. No, there's not. So if you live there to begin with, you're probably more cautious.
Yeah. Now but I will say, to the point of the zoo family, we are seeing a lot more situations like this where parents are being charged where there has been either some injury to their child because of their lack of attention, and we're also seeing parents being held criminally responsible for the actions of their children. And we're seeing both of those things more and more. A majority of states now in the United States have laws that hold parents responsible for crimes committed by their children. And in lots of instances, you're seeing cell phone distraction causing injury to children, children getting away from their parents. Because like you were saying to me privately, Katie, I think earlier in an email, like, aren't we all so distracted by our cell phones? Like, is this something that we have to be worried about? And I think we do, especially people with tiny children.
Yeah.
Well, but I can also see, even if you have a kid that's crawling or whatever, you're at the zoo and you're kind of looking around, even if you weren't on your phone, you could be talking to and then you forget how quickly they can move. I don't fault these parents. I mean, it could happen to anybody.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Jared, though. I can understand
and you're like,
in the
where'd my
blink
kid
of
go?
an
You're like,
eye,
oh my gosh.
they turn around and you lose sight of them. This is going through two separate barriers that were meant to keep kids out at 17 months old. At 17 months old,
walking,
like a year and a half, it's like you cannot be that distracted.
I think it happened quick. How many times have you been in the grocery
Yeah,
store
I
and
agree
your
with
kids,
that.
all of a sudden, you're like,
Well,
where'd they
and not
go?
to mention,
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere
happens
you
so
are,
fast.
anywhere you are, not just a zoo, but I mean, think about all the child predators
Yes.
and traffickers.
I know.
And, and if you let your kid get that far out of your sight and you don't know what they're doing, I mean, it's pretty bad. And it's just it's a different world than what I grew up in, where we just ran wild and our parents didn't know where we were.
They put us in the monkey cages, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's changed. I mean, things have changed. Danger has changed. Technology has changed. You're even seeing distraction. Like there was a woman in Texas just a week ago. She was arrested. She's a daycare worker. She tripped with an infant in her arms, and she fell, and the baby's skull was actually crushed. But
gosh.
she just put the baby down for a nap because she was wanting to get back to her games on her cell phone, which she proceeded to play for 4 straight hours.
Oh, my God.
Without getting the baby any kind of medical attention while its brain was swelling, and it died.
Oh, no.
And so, so there again, it's like, her cell phone was more important than checking on this baby.
I do think, though, Lisa, just to go back to the point before, there is a change, yes, that it's things, we expect things to be safe. We expect things to be accommodating for us, and like, oh, I was distracted on my phone, it's not my fault. There are certain people and certain times that do take advantage and assume that everybody is going to be taking care of their children, and that's, to me, is the biggest change. Not everybody is in charge of your children and making sure they're okay. You have to
agree with that,
take
Katie.
accountability and watch them.
So your kids have never
I'm not
got
saying
out
that.
of your
No,
eyesight.
here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At 17 months old, and you don't even know that they've now made it through 17 months old. Think about that. 17
that's
months
when
old. They're
they're
still in a stroller.
Yeah, that's a small
Well, shouts
kid.
to it in a stroller.
But that's my point. Your kid's out of the stroller.
They're walking and running around.
But your kid's out of the stroller. I'm
Look,
just saying.
I'm normally tough on crime. On this one, I don't know.
I'm just saying there are also people who will go to that zoo and think, oh, well, it's fine. It's all caged in. They can do whatever they want. It's the same when I used to lifeguard. There would be parents who would come like, well, it's the lifeguard's job to watch them. Yes, it is. But it's also your job as a parent to be with them if they can't swim.
I think you're taking everything, though, a little out of context. For instance,
What do you mean?
Everly, there's a playground at a zoo, and the kids are running around the
All over the
playground.
place.
Yeah.
Everly could literally in 2 seconds run out and do a flip over the fence into a tiger
Jason,
cage.
I'm not saying that accidents don't happen. I know I am
Right.
not saying that accidents don't happen. It's the idea that these parents are so deep in their phones that it's like, not our fault.
No, I get that, but
No,
it's
I
quick.
don't think they should.
dare you?
I don't think the parents should say not our fault.
Right,
Is
but,
that what they're saying?
But they're like, well, we didn't know. We were distracted.
They were distracted, yeah, I didn't know.
I was just on my phone.
Could
It's an extreme case.
Yes,
It's an extreme
very
case.
extreme.
I think if it was just a darting toddler, that happened to very quickly scurry under a barrier,
That's an
we
accident.
wouldn't be talking about
Right.
this. That's not what happened here. I mean, they looked at, and law enforcement and the district attorney made a statement. They looked at this very carefully. There was video footage in the area.
Okay.
And these parents were bad. I mean,
okay.
you just have to.
From what I'm hearing, that Jared is weak on crime.
I'm turning to Jason Goodman.
Yeah.
I just know how it is as a parent when your kids they're
So do
moving
I.
so fast.
And that's why I'm saying this is
I'd
so
have to
extreme.
see the tape.
This is so extreme. Accidents happen and freak things happen, and God help us, because that is terrifying. But when you are so in your phone, you don't have a clue, and then you say, I don't know. I was just.
Have you ever heard the movie Cry in the Dark?
No.
Where the dingo ate the baby?
That was
cell
from
phones.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
They might have
Dingo
referenced
ate
it.
the baby.
Yeah, that's like the most famous line I know.
A dingo ate my baby. Meryl Streep played it, but it's a true story in Australia where a woman was accused of killing her infant, but she claimed when she turned her head and then a dingo came and a wild animal came and took her baby. There's no cell
She
phones
didn't
then.
have a cell phone.
No cell phone, so,
I
man,
That is true. That's a crazy accident.
I mean, Adam and Eve turned their head 1 second, and Cain's killing Abel. I mean, what do you want from these people?
Crazy.
Jason, you'll learn about that in church one day.
One day, give him time.
But Lisa, could a slick attorney, we're talking our official attorney, Lisa Lanier, could a slick attorney like yourself, I know maybe you wouldn't do this, but make a case against the cell phone company and sue the cell phone companies for purposely making us addicted?
We love to blame people, don't we?
I'm not saying
one that I don't think. You see a lot of lawsuits emerging against video game companies on behalf of the parents of kids, but what you're not really seeing is the scenario of the phone itself is addictive, but it is so addictive. Mm-hmm. It is so addictive.
Well, I'm saying there's social media site. I mean, Meta and stuff's been sued for children who've teenagers
on behalf of children, but not on behalf of parents. Yeah, lots of lawsuits on behalf of children, but none on behalf of parents. I think that the idea is that adults, have superior reasoning ability and should be able to say, "Hey, look, I need to go watch my kids" or whatever. But for children, there's there's lawsuits all over the place against video games, against Instagram, against all those, Meta, all those folks.
I got you. Well, very good dissection, taking the deep dive. She always does. She's the best. Lisa Lanier. If you're ever injured, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com. That's hireaheavyweight.com.